According to the Job Bank of Canada for architects, for the period of 2019 to 2028, new job openings are expected to reach 6,800, arising from expansion and replacement demand. Meanwhile, 7,800 new job seekers are expected to be available to fill them, arising from immigration, school leavers, and mobility. Brad Smith is the president of Felix Culpa, an architectural firm which focuses on collaboration to get the job done. He joined me this week to discuss the state of the architecture industry, both here in Windsor and Essex and across the border in Detroit. I'm Kevin McShann. Let's have this conversation. Brad, if you're ready, I'll welcome you to the program, and I'm excited to talk to you this morning about the state of the architecture industry. Great to be with you this morning, and thanks so much for being here.
Great for having me, Kevin.
Hey, Brad, just before we dive into architecture, I don't know if you knew this, but March, as we wrap it up, is International Women's History Month. So I'm curious to ask you about the impact that women have had in your life, buddy.
Women have had a humongous impact. I have a beautiful wife that I get to share my new space with during COVID here for the last year, which has been fantastic. I have a beautiful young 7-year-old daughter that's been teaching me things every day. And then, I grew up with a wonderful mother and sister that have just guided me and kind of made me the man who I am. So I can't say enough about women.
Absolutely. They're the backbone for anybody. Absolutely. So as we dive into architecture, I'm just curious to get you started by asking you to describe, in your opinion, the current state of the industry in Windsor and Essex County, buddy.
I think, well, Windsor and Essex County is a much like Detroit is a blue collar town, and it's a little bit utilitarian in the fact that buildings are built around this area for not necessarily designed, but more for useful or practical areas. So the challenge in this area is to educate people on the importance of design. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do in this region. But yeah, that's what I would say.
Absolutely. And can you tell me, I know a large part of any business, and especially in your industry, is about building relationships and keeping them strong and building a positive rapport with people. So tell me about the process of building positive relationships in architecture.
Yeah, relationships is everything in architecture. To have a strong relationship with your client just produces better projects. And then that goes into having a strong relationship with basically everyone on the job, from your team to down to the client and the city and the contractors. So we do that, within my group by just being honest, transparent, and creating a platform of trust to ensure that these projects work smoothly and come out, with the desired outcome of the client.
Absolutely, and let's dive into Felix Culpa, your company. I know it's all about creating collaboration, as you said. So I'm curious to ask you about your company, how it works, and how's business going for you?
So business is going good. So basically, Felix Culpa was like born out of this pandemic. The meaning of Felix Culpa is a Latin term, and it basically means happy accident. So the pandemic happened. I had a change in my job, and I started this firm. So it was kind of like a happy accident, and then I've taken this, like we had just said, this relationship building, and made it kind of a pillar of my company here. And that's how I try to operate, is just through honesty, respect for one another, and with pointing in the same direction with the common goal of getting good projects done that not only serve the client, but hopefully the community.
And I know you're also a licensed in Detroit, so I'm wondering if being a license on both sides of the border provides you with any business advantages as well.
Yeah, so my history is I'm from Sarnia, Ontario, which is across from Port Huron. Um, uh, Going to Tigers games as a little boy with my dad. Detroit's been ingrained in my life. Now in Windsor, um, just that interconnection between the two cities, I believe, is humongous. I also lived over there. I went to school in Detroit, and I worked for many years in Detroit. So I think that having that cross-border connection is huge advantage. The Canadian side, it's an advantage because I can say I worked in Detroit, and I can say I done stuff in Detroit. And Detroit's such a big city. It's a cool city. It's a hip city that people love. That experience that I've had. But my advantage to you Americans is that I have like the Canadian advantage, I call it. Windsor's like the little brother to Detroit, and we have a different perspective of Detroit. Which is a little different than maybe living in the exact, like, I think they call us the southern suburbs. So we're so close and we're so ingrained, but we have such a different perspective being Canadian. Our culture is a little different. Our opinions on things like climate and such is a little different. So I think that can be my advantage for Americans looking for me to do work over there.
Absolutely. And I'm also curious to get your thoughts on business diversification in the architecture industry as it relates to incorporating more people with disabilities and other minority groups into the industry as well.
Yeah, so diversification is a huge part of architecture. Architecture is nothing without people, and there's diversification in all shapes and sizes. So I think it's I think the industry would be so much more positive to have people of minority groups in leadership positions for their experiences and such. I think that this starts from like an early stage. I think we need to give kids the opportunity to envision themselves in these positions, whether you're a minority or if you have a disability. So I think education is like the paramount of where we need to start. I think for disabilities specifically, I think we have there needs to be a large change, because I think our institutions that we teach in need to become more accessible for those with disabilities, and then the industry as a whole. So a large part of internship is construction observation. So going out on site and checking out the built environment. Well, that's not very that's not very conducive to people with disabilities. It's hard to get around on site. It's hard to see how the buildings are put together. So I think there needs to be a big shift in how we construct things and how we get people with disabilities involved in these areas, to just educate better, and to put people in these positions.
Absolutely. And Brad, I'm also curious to ask you about the pandemic and how that's affected the industry as well.
So the pandemic, on my side, has it's affected obviously construction and what's able to be constructed. But personally, it's kind of neutralized my abilities to work in the United States, because I can't get over there. So it's hard to build any relationships with people to bring in work, as well as just if I were to bring in work, to get over there and to observe it and that kind of thing. So it's slowed my portion of my industry over there down a little bit, but future's bright. I know people still want to do things, so I'm just trying to put my best foot forward to when the border does open up, hopefully I can jump back over.
Absolutely. And my final question for you, Brad, is how do you envision the future of the industry, both here in Windsor and Essex County and in Detroit?
So architecture, my most exciting part about architecture is the same as what led me to architecture in the first place, and that's learning and progressing. As an architect, you're not only encouraged, but you're required to keep learning about different facets of technology, diversity, and whatever, to make you a stronger architect, designer, but also a citizen. So I just get excited because I just see the opportunities that are growing within the Detroit, Windsor area. People are noticing us here finally, and it's just an opportunity for us to learn more and to progress. I think if we stay stagnant, then we essentially die. So I think we need to keep moving forward, and that's what I'm most excited about.
Absolutely. Hey, Brad, I really want to thank you for spending a few minutes and talking about the future of the architecture industry here and across the border. Really enjoyed our conversation, and I want to thank you for being here this morning. It's most appreciated.
Great. Thanks, Kevin. It's been awesome. You've made the experience so great for me, and I hope we can do it again.